Hey, Footclan. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at FantasyChamps.com, your home for trophies, rings, belts, and anything the fantasy champion needs, including the Fantasy Football Gold Championship Trophy.
Oh!
It is a glorious monument to your fantasy greatness. The names of current and former champions glisten off the custom-engraved plaques, and the trophy is the perfect weight to hoist triumphantly over your head and parade through your draft as your league mates look on in, dare I say, desperate sadness.
Oh, yes, you do.
This golden glory stands 16 inches tall and weighs a sturdy 7 pounds. You can knock someone out with that, Mike.
Yes, you can.
And they only laser engrave onto premium metal placards, not those cheap plastic products that other companies use. And you can save 10% by using the promo code BALLERS at FantasyChamps.com.
This is Melvin Gordon from the Los Angeles Chargers, and you listening to the Fantasy Footballers podcast.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers podcast, coming to you from Draft.com Studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Oh, what's going on?
It's me. It's Andy. It's Brooks.
It's a bear.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers podcast.
we should just take turns.
Oh, every other word.
Yes.
I mean, we've done 678 shows, Mike.
Go.
Hey there.
Oh, you gave 2 words.
Yeah, I did. I
Go
messed it
again.
up.
Go again.
Hey,
Everyone.
it's
The
Fantasy
Footballers.
Podcast with...
You went 2 words again. You're not very good at this game.
I'm used to saying all the words.
Yes.
So, we do not have Jason with us this morning. This was an impromptu. He's got some family to take care of.
Yes.
We
Yes,
thought
he
he'd
does.
be in here, so thoughts and prayers with Jason. He's handling the husband duties this morning, as he always does. He's a great father. He's a great dad. He's no Jay
He
Grizz.
is.
I mean,
He is.
Jay
Well-
Grizz at the end of the day, you
Are
know,
bears good dads?
who's a better hibernator? Bear?
Between a bear and Jason?
Correct.
That is an excellent question.
Because Jason, in a way, post-lunch hibernates for about 4 hours.
he
He doesn't process food the way a normal person does.
Yeah, if
More of a bear.
if he does not eat wisely, let's
Correct.
put it at that,
Yeah.
at lunch, then he's not the one who pays the price. We all pay the price.
So would you call yesterday's decisions wise decisions where he opened his – where we went to a pizza parlor and his opener was – okay, he took one of the cookies off of
He
the
knew
counter.
it's pizza, so you know you're going to have to wait for the food.
Right. So he took – I mean, I understand Jason by now. And he took a freshly baked cookie and he opened with a cookie at the table. And we were all sitting there waiting for our food. He had the cookie, and that's – okay, that's a little Jason of him.
Yes.
But then when the cannoli came out before his pizza and he doubled down on the pre-pizza desserts, I thought that was the point in which the hibernation was going to start.
The double appetizer, or I should say the double dessert appetizer, it's been talked about, but no one's had the courage to do it until Jason Moore.
Does he go to fine restaurants and ask for the dessert appetizer menu? Like, where are your dessert appetizers? I only see regular appetizers here.
I see the cheese fries, but I'm looking for the cake.
the pre-dinner cake. This is how we reward Jason for not being with us this morning. Welcome in. We'll have the rest of the Week 17 matchups.
No, it's good, man. We're going to help people win.
Yes, we are. And the Footclan Friday winner, that'll be on today's show. You can find us on Twitter at the FFBallers. The website's thefantasyfootballers.com, youtube.com/thefantasyfootballers. Be sure to subscribe, click the bell. You'll know when we're live streaming. You'll know when new shows are out. I'm sure, I'm going to presume that there will be some sort of highlight video over the last year that is going to be worked on by Brooks. He's nodding in an affirmative manner.
Oh, come on. You have to make a note about this? You weren't already doing it?
He's making a note. Do highlight video.
Oh.
Got to get going on that.
And we got Footclan titled T-shirts, which I want to see those pictures on Twitter. I really do. People donning the Footclan title shirt, shopballers.com. You can check those out. I did say it was Friday.
Footclan Friday.
Footclan Friday winner of a $55 gift card. Nice guy Eddie. Thank you, nice guy Eddie.
That's a great strategy.
Just be extra nice?
Well, no, but you think he is already.
Oh, of course I do.
I'm saying I've got the long-standing issues with the face of looking angry. Got that wrath face.
Yeah, you have a resting, angry face.
What
Yes.
if my nickname was Super Nice Mike
That would help.
instead of Mike the Fantasy Hitman?
If you introduced yourself with your angry face but said, hey, I'm super nice Mike. Smiley Mike.
Smiley Mike.
Smiley Mike. Hashtag Smiley Mike. Yeah, that would help. People would go, this guy's an enigma. There's some irony here. He's got a sense of humor. Next week on the Monday show, we have the Footy Award nominations, looking back at this past year of fantasy football glory
Yes, and
disappointment.
That's a fan vote. So
Yes.
be prepared to fill in the ballot. Also,
Nickname of the year,
and if
fantasy
you want
MVP.
If you want to make sure we don't forget your favorite nickname of the year, there's a post on all the social places where you can just drop us a line, remind us, because sometimes we forget the nicknames. There's so many good ones.
You mean like Big Will?
Yeah, Big Montana.
Big Montana.
Will Disley. I mean, who could ever forget that guy?
Oh.
You were looking over like the drop is still there.
Did he leave the
That
Will
drop's
Disley
on
drop?
the no, that thing's on the IR.
Yeah, I think
Will.
it's on the IR.
It's on the IR. I would love it if I had an IR tab for drops. I think we'd use it. Footy Awards on January 3rd, the Thursday show. Let's go ahead and get into the news, the in and out.
What's it gonna be, McFly? Are you in?
You know what? Let's do in and out, and then I got
You'll circle back?
two bits of
Yeah.
news that we need to talk about. But in or out, Todd Gurley, what do you think?
I think he'll be out. You saw
Makes very little sense for him to be out there
He's
with
still
C.J.
not-
Anderson being good enough.
Yeah, still not practicing. Of course, Todd Gurley doesn't need to practice. But if he's not doing anything by the end of today, which is Friday, then why would you play him? You're getting ready for the playoffs.
He has not practiced. Leonard Fournette and Tevin Coleman have not practiced. Do you think that they will be in?
I don't think that that Leonard Fournette will play. Tevin Coleman's the harder one to evaluate because we've talked about it. He's playing for money. I mean, he's a free agent next year. Head coach Dan Quinn on Monday was very positive about his chances to play, but is since scaled back on those. I don't know if that's the gamesmanship coach speak, but if you have Coleman, if you have any of these three guys, you better be prepared to pivot.
What's interesting to me is you brought up the fact that T.J. Yeldon was left. He was a healthy scratch last week as an advantage to him being a free agent, not to risk his injury. If that's the perspective Jacksonville has on winning games at this point, I would say that I think Leonard Fournette's going to miss the game.
Yeah, that's what I expect as well. A lot of Carlos Hyde.
Yeah, Spencer Ware returned to a full practice on Wednesday. You think he'll be in?
I do. I think he'll play.
Antonio Brown missed Thursday's practice due to a knee issue. Missed Wednesday's with a coach's decision. This is a big game. You think he's in?
Of course.
Devontae Adams?
He's a much harder case. Did not practice Wednesday or Thursday. He said he expects to play, but the only thing Adams has to play for this week is the Packers reception title. So
Does he need 3 of them or something?
Yeah, I think he needs 3 to become the sole owner of the most receptions in a Packers season. But that's it. So if he's actually banged up and hurt, then I don't know.
He could get those and get out.
That's very possible.
That could happen too. Julio Jones didn't practice Thursday. In or out?
I think he'll play.
Odell Beckham quadricep.
Out.
You think he'll be out? DeAndre Hopkins and Kiki QT.
Hopkins will play. QT.
Doubt it.
I'll believe it when I see it.
I like DeAndre Carter if QT misses.
Agreed.
T.Y. Hilton with the ankle injury didn't
He'll
practice
play.
Wednesday or Thursday. He always plays.
He will play.
They need to win too. Kenny Golladay,
Limited. He'll play.
Doug Baldwin,
He will play.
Allen Robinson with the ribs. I think he'll miss. I think he's gonna be out.
Yeah.
Didn't practice Wednesday, Thursday. Need him for the playoffs.
You do. In Chicago, do you just try and knock Minnesota out of the playoffs? Do they care that much about
Right.
their division rival? I don't think they do.
Tyler, and the odds of them stealing the 1 or 2 seed is low.
Exactly.
Tyler Boyd not been practicing.
No, out.
Corey Davis,
He'll play.
Marquise Goodwin,
Goodness.
don't care.
Yeah.
Eric Ebron with the concussion and the knee injury.
That's an impossible to tell. You got to just follow the news and see if he's progressing.
Yeah. Footclan game day alerts 1 hour before main Sunday kickoff. Did Jay Grizz fall forward a little bit?
Jay Grizz just moved.
Jay Grizz just moved a little bit?
Cardboard extraordinaire is moving.
That's a little frightening because it's a full-grown grizzly.
Brooks, what happened? I thought we secured the bear.
Look, Brooks normally spends, 3-4 hours securing the bear on an average week when we know someone's going to miss. But, Jason, this was a last-minute call.
Yeah.
That bear is a lot to deal with.
The bear is a lot to handle. Thank you.
Speaking of a lot to handle.
Oh, no.
America, nay, world.
Oh, goodness.
Jay Grizz, his Twitter account.
Oh, gosh.
Which is twitter.com/JayGrizzFFL.
Which we don't run.
No, we do not run. We may or may not know the person who is behind it because it's a bear. It's very hard to type with those big Klaus that a bear has. He's about.
I can't believe this.
The bear is about to surpass 20,000 followers. If you want to try and be that 20,000th follower,
oh, you're trying to get him there.
Let's go. Let's
What's
get
the
him.
handle?
Jay Grizz FFL.
Yeah.
The cardboard bear, who's actually got very good tweets. He's a good
that's what I
follow.
say. He's a very consistent tweeter. He always has something to enjoy.
There's an insane amount of bear pictures.
Well, yeah, I understand that. A little bit of bias.
No, I'm saying out there in the world,
Oh, I see.
people like to photograph bears.
Yeah, there's a long history of bears being photographed.
And his stream of the week is always on point.
Yeah.
You can never go wrong.
Yeah. Here was the news I wanted to bring up before in or out. I know you're excited about it.
Yes!
You're horribly biased. The Chiefs have signed running back Damien Williams to a 2-year extension through 2020. Max value on this deal, if you read it, it's $8 million max value.
I thought it was 10.
No, 8.1.
Okay.
8.1. And it's incentive-laden, from what I understand. This guarantees that Damien Williams will be on the roster next season.
Yes.
Damien Williams, 26 years old, came over from Miami, much maligned by Jason for his talent and ability, by the way, averaging 5.3 a carry. And Mike is rejoicing because his dynasty team has been decimated by injury at the running back position / suspension, Kareem Hunt.
Yep.
And here Damien Williams is on his bench, and suddenly he's a part of at least a rotation next year.
Yeah, and I honestly believe that Damien Williams, he will be on the roster. That much is secure, and he will be given the first chance to be the lead running back. And I don't have all the numbers. I'm very excited to dive into this. But from what I recall is Andy Reid is a one running back guy. And by one, of course, there's other people will be mixed in. Kareem Hunt was never a one running back guy when there was other capable players on the team.
Spencer Ware is an unrestricted free agent after the season.
The only other person now under contract is Darrell Williams,
who I think I could be them too.
Right, and if it
was, then you're in good shape.
If it's those two guys, Damien Williams is going to be a hot draft pick.
So
next
if you
season.
would like to see Mike writhe in pain, we'll live stream him during the NFL draft when Kansas City uses some 3rd or 4th round pick on the next Kareem Hunt.
And Footclan, the draft did not go well for my dynasty team last year at the running back position. It was just high-profile guy going to the wrong team, just multiple shots right into my goot. I mean,
it was very entertaining.
I left the draft feeling just like a defeated man.
Yeah, you had Carlos Hyde and then Nick Chubb got drafted by the Browns. That was part of it.
I had Rex Burkhead, Sony Michel went there.
This is why, people ask us for early dynasty pickups and targets. You can give some names, but you got to be aware of these circumstances where the draft is going to change a lot for you.
I had Devontae Booker, and then they drafted Royce Freeman.
That is correct.
I mean, it was not good.
And we live in an NFL right now where the running back position is most often by committee. Most often you bring in another name. So it'll be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta picks up another back with Kevin Coleman leaving.
And I stand by this so much. So committee is not a dirty word. If people want to say that, like he got signed, committee back. To me, it's not. Everyone's in a committee except for Todd Gurley,
Saquon Barkley,
probably Le'Veon Bell, Saquon Barkley,
Zeke.
Yeah, I mean, there's so few guys,
and that's why those guys are the most valuable draft picks in general. People want to debate. You got to go get Hopkins and Adams and Brown. They're not going to be in my top. Right now, my top 6 are running backs for next year. It might end up being my top 8, 9.
Sure,
I might back them all up because if you've got right now, you can't tell me whether Antonio Brown, Devontae Adams, Julio Jones, Odell Beckham Jr., Tyreek Hill. They're in the same category.
Exactly.
But picking up a running back that could have a workload like that Is Nick Chubb going to be viewed as a workhorse back next year? Maybe. Joe Mixon. So those are guys that might sneak into that top 10. It's going to be fun. We'll talk about that some next week, and then, for about 6 months. We'll be doing mock drafts. Jason will be here. That way we get someone who doesn't draft all Bears.
Yes. And my initial reaction, besides just zealous, selfish joy for myself.
Sure, which is why this show is good, is because we're invested.
Is the fact that Jason will have no choice but to speak kindly about Damien Williams.
It happens sometimes.
Because if Damien Williams is the primary guy for the Chiefs next year, like he has been this season since Kareem Hunt has been gone, that's
relevant.
That's fantasy points that Jason is not going to like.
All right, shout out to tight end Benjamin Watson.
Yeah.
38-year-old tight end. Drafted in 2004. He's going to retire after the season. He already has 1 ring with New England. Going for a 2nd ring with New Orleans. And great career, great person.
Great man.
Really respect Benjamin Watson. And, he's going to be hanging him up. That's a nice career. If you can go to 38 in the NFL, you did it right. You did it right. So let's go ahead and transition into the forecast.
Fantasy Forecast.
You know what I'm forecasting, Mike?
What's that?
The gratitude in the hearts of our Footclan listeners when they check out pristineauction.com, sponsoring today's show every single day. Hundreds of daily sports memorabilia auctions with JSA certified autographs, incredible steals and deals. Amari Cooper signed NFL Draft logo football, $67. That was yesterday. Stephon Diggs signed Minnesota Miracle replica game ticket, $52. Evan Engram signed Giants jersey. Get this. This is a JSA witnessed signature, $61. Or I'm sorry, $43 for that jersey. Hundreds of daily auctions. We've got a plethora of tweets, people getting gifts from pristineauction.com for Christmas. Look, you can stock up on your favorite players, favorite teams, pristineauction.com, Pristine auction.com, and we thank them for sponsoring the show. Very excited to be partnered with them again next year.
And quick reminder, Footclan, fantasychamps.com is the one-stop shop, the only place you need to go for all of your fantasy football championship hardware. Mike, taking on the role of Mike.
I'm a hype man.
The hype man. Andy highlighted in the beginning of the show the gold trophy.
Yes.
Look, the gold trophy is amazing. It's incredible.
Yeah.
For me, though, I'm all about the crystal trophy. You can't find this anywhere else. It's an incredible trophy. It reminds you very much of the championship trophy that the NCAA hands out at the end of the season. It is beautiful. It is.
If you thought you could injure somebody with the gold trophy,
yeah, this thing is
you can really injure them with this bad boy.
Absolutely heavy duty. It's incredible. It rings everything you need. Like I said, one-stop shop. FantasyChamps.com. Use that promo code BALLERS. Save a little bit of money.
Fantasy Champs does not endorse hurting people with their trophies.
We should probably mention that.
Yeah. All right, the 7-7.
Nor do we.
No, nor do we. Yeah, we disclaim them, but we fully endorse blunt force trauma here at the podcast. Very pro blunt force trauma.
How do I shame the person in last place in my league? Give him a good knock on the head with the trophy.
They won't wake up till next year. The 7-7-1 Browns take on the 9-6 Ravens. The
7-7-1.
The Browns can finish the season above 500 with a win. They would also knock out the Ravens. And really, unfortunately for the Browns, they're putting one of their division mates into the playoffs. They either win and put the Steelers in, or they lose and put the Ravens in.
Sure.
So either way, they want to win. They want to have a positive situation going into next year. The Ravens are 5.5-point favorites. It's a 41-point over-under. I do think the Ravens are going to come out on top in this one, and that is just because they are at home. If this game was in Cleveland, end of the year, going for above 500, the way Baker Mayfield's playing, I might lean Cleveland. But what do we think for fantasy? Nick Chubb, you're starting him.
Absolutely.
Even though the Ravens are a tough defense. But Baker, Jarvis, Njoku, I'm hesitant to roll them out there in championship week in Baltimore.
Yeah, I agree. Baker he would be right on that fringe of one. I mean, they did play earlier in the season, and Baker had 342 passing yards, only one score. But so at least if you were bold enough to play him that week, he didn't destroy your week with those kind of numbers. And I don't think he will in this matchup either. But if you have other options like Nick Foles is on your waiver wire, I would much rather play him. And Jarvis and David and Njoku I'm okay with, because the Ravens, the only spot they're actually giving up fantasy points of any kind of note is at the tight end position, ranked 26th the past 6 weeks. But Jarvis, Antonio Callaway, I'm finding a different option. Duke Johnson, do you think he's sneaky at all?
Not really. No, I mean, they might
He was more involved.
Yeah, they might need him, but I'm concerned about banking on anybody in that matchup. That's where I'm at.
Right.
Who else are you looking at on the other side of the ball here for Baltimore? Because really this team is built around the run and defense. So you're talking Lamar Jackson, Gus Edwards, Kenneth Dixon. I feel like the list really ends there. It's even hard, as much as I like Mark Andrews. Nick Boyle got his catches last week. You can't start him.
100%. And I pumped the brakes on Gus Edwards. I would still play him as a running back too. I'm very concerned about the way things are trending for him, because it's on the surface it seems like everything is okay, but it's a trap door where when the bottom falls out, it's going to catch you. Or I don't want it to catch you completely by surprise, but it's very possible Gus Edwards comes into this matchup and gets 10 carries.
You just don't know when it's going to happen.
Exactly.
And he's been making big plays on top of that. So I think that's what has helped hide a potential transition. And what I really believe is I don't think that there's any intentionality to his reduction. I think it's a matter of hot hand. They have a lot of confidence in Kenneth Dixon. I think that's all it is. But it's hard to predict. I do think the matchup at home with what they want to do in this game, I think they're both pretty safe. Let's go ahead and transition now into the Raiders matchup.
The Raiders.
The 4-11 Raiders at the 11-4
They wish
Chiefs.
they were 4-8. They remember that
They've
time.
been winning some games. Derek Carr and company, Doug Martin. Oh, gosh. What a roster. Jordy Nelson, Jared Cook. Look, you're probably starting Jared Cook because you have to. Tight ends are very thin. Derek Carr disappointing last week. Doug Martin had a big 100-plus yard game, Mike.
Yeah, Brooks, part of that highlight video is you should find where I proclaimed full endorsement of Krampus, because I was so all in on Doug Martin. I was mocked openly on this show.
It was Christmas, too.
For the record, if you're not remembering, I did not support him. I mentioned that it's very possible he's going to get some carries, and he's been a serviceable fantasy running back.
So to me, how bullish are you on Damien Williams if Spencer Ware returns in this game? And you still have Darrell Williams mixed in. You still have, but you have a great matchup against the Raiders. The Raiders are 24th against the running back.
Honestly, it was going to be waning, but the contract last night really boosts my opinion of Damien Williams. I think that it will be that timeshare, but Spencer Ware, instead of coming back and being the lead guy, I think he returns to the auxiliary role.
I haven't seen anything from Spencer Ware that makes me think he's more than a plodder.
Yeah,
not explosive. Damien Williams has been much more explosive.
He does not look at all like the few years ago Spencer Ware when he had the big season.
Completely agree with you. You're starting Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
Sammy Watkins is out in this game. Travis Kelce is in. Mahomes is in. There's not a lot of hot debates here. Week 13, Kansas City won 40-33. That's 73 points on the board. This game has a 52.5 point over/under, so there will be value there.
So the sneaky play yet again, who was our sneaky Raider play of the week last week, was Jordy Nelson.
Yeah,
he came through 10 targets, 7 for 75 last week. So that's 3 of the past 4 games. Jordy Nelson has at least 75 yards. So he's, like you said,
at least
the Raiders
six catches in 4 straight games. The only predictable pass catching weapon for them is Jordy, because Aitman has waned. Seth Roberts is here and there. Jared Cook has even been here and there, but Jordy has been targeted heavily.
Yeah, he's come back to fantasy life, and they've, like you said, they've been sneaking out some of these wins here.
One thing we didn't mention in the news was Deshaun Jackson requesting he doesn't want to be back with Tampa next year.
Right.
Still leading the league in yards per catch. I think Deshaun Jackson needs to end up on the Green Bay Packers. I just want to throw that out there. That is my prediction right now. That is where I think he belongs. I think he would be a wonderful complement to Devontae Adams and company over there. When you talk about, there are Green Bay Packer fans out there wondering, do we bring back Randall Cobb? You would be much better off spending your money on a Deshaun Jackson or, finding a way to get some other pieces in there, a field stretcher.
I think the reunion happens for Deshaun Jackson. I think he goes back home to Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's very, very possible. Yes, absolutely. He'd be great there too. He's still a great player.
Yes.
That's the thing. Can he stay healthy? Can his quarterbacks find him when he's wide open? That's another question. The 11-4 Bears take on the 8-6-1 Vikings, a 40-point over-under. The Vikings playing for their playoff lives. And the Bears, look, if they win, and I believe if the Rams lose, then there's a shot for the Bears to take that 2 seed. But Minnesota needs to win or to make the playoffs, or if they lose, they risk missing if Philadelphia wins. So a lot on the table for Minnesota. Fortunately for them, the game is at home, and they are 4.5-point favorites. Chicago beat them 25-20 in Week 11. That was a game in which Stephon Diggs had 13 catches for 126-1.
Oh, wasn't that all garbage?
It really was.
At the end of the game, there was a lot of it. There was that drive where it was like 5 straight receptions for Stephon Diggs.
Tough matchup for Vikings fantasy players. Dalvin Cook, 17-plus touches in 4 straight games. Can you trust Dalvin Cook in this one, and where's his ceiling? Because obviously the Bears, number 1 against running backs, 4 against quarterbacks. They're the Bears.
Yes.
What they are.
You can trust Cook because the volume will be there. Since he came back from his injury, about for a 4-game stretch here, we've had really good production from Dalvin Cook. He will get the touches. I expect him to see at least 17 to 18 touches at minimum between rushes and pass catches. That was
a weird way to put it.
It was between runs and receptions.
Yes,
that's much more eloquent. So yes, you can trust him. The ceiling, it's lower though.
Is he a player that you would consider taking above some of those upper-tier wideouts next year? Or is Dalvin Cook in the second tier of running backs? Because him, Mixon, David Johnson, these are names that I anticipate them all going behind the top-tier wideouts, but I'm not sure.
I would, off the top of my head, I would prefer to take the top-tier wide receivers over Dalvin.
Okay. We've got to talk about the other side. What do you think of Jordan Howard's very consistent into the season?
Yeah, he's apparently back. They were just saving him up.
I mean, he's very reliable right now.
What a season. What a season for Jordan Howard, who looked like a top 3 guy those first 3 weeks when he was actually getting receptions. Then he vanished and people were dropping him. And now he's back scoring in 2 straight games. Been getting double-digit carries. He's a fine play, I guess. The Vikings, it's a really, really tough matchup.
Yeah, I agree with you, and it's hard to trust. Cohen, after a 6-for-12 week and 1 target, Cohen has had this problem at times disappearing. He's so electric. A lot of people view him as the, better. Like next year, do you want Tariq Cohen or Jordan Howard next year?
Wow. I don't know. I think it's Tyreek. Oh!
What happened?
Oh!
Do you
no,
need me to...
Really?
Breaking news.
Breaking news. Tip of the... Wow. Congratulations, Footclan. The Fantasy Pros accuracy results from weeks 1 through 16, which are the season, have come out. My fearless leader, Andy Holloway, number 5 on the season.
Sweet.
Number 5. Goodness. Congratulations, Andy.
Thank you.
And hold the phone.
We got another name in that top 10.
Because Jason Moore finished as number 9 on the season, 2 in the top 10. I'm there somewhere. Don't worry.
Hey, Mike, you're at 19. And by the way, they rank 130 experts.
All right, I'll take top 20. But
so we
don't need to highlight that. We'll highlight the 2 in the top 10.
That's awesome. That's great.
Wow. What a season.
Now you've got no excuse to stop listening to this show.
No, really. Hey, congratulations,
Thank you.
Andy.
Thank you. That's a great year. That's a great year. I'm excited.
A great. Stop. That's an amazing year.
Sweet. Well, we'll keep doing it. We keep trying to get better.
No, that's my swan song.
There you go.
I'm good. I made top 20. I'm out.
The 6-9 Bengals take on the 8-6-1 Steelers, who are 14.5-point favorites. It's a 45.5-point over/under. Give me the Steelers minus the points in this game. I think they just destroy the Bengals at home. I don't see any way around it. You've got a destroyed wide receiver core for Cincinnati. Jeff Driscoll running for his life week in and week out.
But he had a few big scores.
Yeah. Did you watch?
He just needs one.
Myles Garrett was mic'd up for this last matchup against the Bengals. By the way, shout out. Myles Garrett's awesome.
Yes.
And first-time Pro Bowler. I love the Browns. But Myles Garrett was talking about Driscoll, and they just showed all these near sacks he had, and he was talking about how slippery Driscoll was.
Oh, he's a slippery fella.
He's a slippery old Driscoll.
That's his plan. I'll grease up.
Look, I think you can play Mixon and Uzama if you need a tight end. Uzama he had a big touchdown last week. If there's one thing O'Driscoll does to get his big score, it's try to overthrow people, and Uzama's big enough to occasionally circumvent his plans to be overthrown and catch it. But the Steelers are the story here. Now, James Conner returned to a full practice Wednesday. If he's out there,
it's Conner.
You're a Conner.
Yep.
Do you even look at Jalen Samuels at the tight end position?
Maybe at the tight end position over that third tier of tight ends, because he should end up with 2 to 3 receptions. But everything in Mike Tomlin's history, going back to Damien Williams, says that if James Conner is back and healthy, he will be the guy. And he's been the guy all year, and this is winning in, right, for the Steelers?
Yeah, no, it's not winning in because the Ravens have to lose.
What? Okay.
So
Steelers have to win.
The same motivation factor exists for them. Yes.
If they lose, then they're out. So I firmly believe that it will go right back to James Conner being the guy, and the Bengals are probably my favorite defense to have a running back against. So if you're a Week 17er and you've been stashing James Conner, congratulations, because Conner should be a top 5 option this week.
Big Ben on the season, 4th in passing touchdowns, 1st in passing yards per game. We talked about it some on the Footcast yesterday, which, by the way, it may not seem like it, but there's no better time to join our community at jointhefoot.com than right now, because when we go to 2 shows a week, you get a 3rd show every single week, the Footcast. So jointhefoot.com, check that out. We talked about it yesterday, a little bit about what we thought about the Steelers. I think the Steelers, at a minimum, are walking on a very trepidatious line. I think if they miss the playoffs this year, there's going to be a lot of questions going into next season, not just about the running game, but about Big Ben. How long is he going to play? Is Juju going to take over for Antonio Brown? Is Mike Tomlin secure? All those questions are going to come up because when you win, everything's fine.
That's very true.
Nobody questions anything. All right, let's go here. The Eagles, 8-7, take on the 7-8 Redskins, 42-point over/under. The Redskins plus 6.5 in this game. Underdogs against the Eagles. The Eagles need to win and get some help. Nick Foles. Can you play him this week against Washington?
Absolutely.
Do you know what his completion percentage is over the last 2 weeks, Mike?
Probably huge.
73%.
Nick Foles, he makes no sense.
You know what he is? He is a gamer.
I guess. He makes absolutely no sense to me.
Thank goodness they have him.
Oh, yeah. Of course, thank goodness.
I know that sounds stupid.
They won a Super Bowl.
But what I'm saying is it's like sometimes you look at these situations. Now, the Cardinals, it didn't work out for them. But they had a situation where they spent quite a bit of money on backup quarterback play behind Sam Bradford. And that hurts. It kind of feels like you're wasting that money. But with the amount of quarterbacks that go down and the needs out there, it just having Nick Foles, obviously they won a Super Bowl with him. Now they have him again with a chance to get in. And if they get in, they're playing good football.
This is a dynasty aside, because Jason was so sure that Teddy Bridgewater's out there, but he's not. But you know who is out there? Nick Foles.
Yeah, he is.
And Nick Foles next year will either be starting for the Philadelphia Eagles, which I think that's a
long shot.
Yeah, that's like a 2% chance. Carson Wentz is their guy. But the contract situation for Nick Foles is they either give him $20 million to be the backup quarterback, or he gets to go find –
That's his contract situation?
Yes.
What happens if they win this week and Minnesota loses and they make the playoffs?
That's why
then Carson Wentz is healthy. Because Carson Wentz, I think –
Oh, because they did not IR him, you mean?
Yes, and I think Carson Wentz technically could get out there right now. Now, they got no reason to force him out there, but what do you do in the playoffs?
I do not envy the Philadelphia Eagles who will have to make that decision. Because how do you possibly bench Foles if he continues to play at the high level? And Carson Wentz, what is he has a broken back?
He does. He does have a broken back.
I mean, how do you make that type of a decision? But anyway, my point was there's a great chance that Nick Foles is just out there. If you're in a one-quarterback league, he's going to be a starting quarterback for a team next year. I don't know if he's actually good, but he's been great for fantasy for a long stretch now.
Well, I remember not wanting him in Arizona, and I wanted Sam Bradford, and I think I would like to undo that decision. Darren Sproles, can you play him? Big week last week, 50% of snaps. I think you can. Pass catching, man. It helps.
Yeah. Oh, of course it helps, but I mean, how many total touches did he have on the week?
12. So that's hard. That's difficult. Would you play him over Josh Adams?
No.
Okay.
No, because
I would.
I would not. Darren Sproles.
I would.
3 receptions each of the past 3 games, except it was 3 for 34, 3 for 16, 3 for 76. So
I know
the variance is there for him to hit the big play. The
Redskins at home.
Yeah, I would play
incentive
Adams.
to keep the Eagles out of the playoffs here too. It's a 6.5-point line. I would not be surprised if this is a 3-point game. I know the Eagles need to win, but every time I've counted on the Eagles or the Weegles, either one, to kind of give me that super performance.
That's on the bulletin. That's the bulletin materials. Washington's calling them the Weegles.
Oh, see, if someone was calling me a Weagle, I would be motivated to win.
You sound like a child's entertainment program.
100%.
We are the Weegles.
Yeah, they come on right after Barney.
Blip, 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 blip.
We are the Weegles. Led by Todd.
My name is
Nick
Will. Will Weagle.
Let's stop. Adrian Peterson, would you play him? He was 9 for 98 and a touchdown against Philly in Week 13.
Would. Old man strength.
Any interest
came through.
in Jamison Crowder, who's been the target leader for a couple weeks?
No.
Right answer. The 11-4 Chargers take on the 6-9 Broncos. The Broncos are 6.5-point underdogs against the Chargers. It's a 41.5-point over/under. Look, if the Chargers win, Kansas City loses, they can win the AFC West. So
that's madness.
Otherwise, you're on the road in the wild card round as the 5th seed.
That is madness.
So I don't think that Kansas City is going to lose against Oakland, but this is the NFL. Stranger things have happened.
Right.
They need to win this game.
Like San Francisco beating Seattle.
Yeah. I mean, this stuff, and Oakland beating Pittsburgh. If Oakland doesn't beat Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh's in the playoffs.
That's crazy.
So
what a world.
Because the line is very fine in the NFL. It's a fine line,
yes.
Mike.
It's the finest.
The finest. Case Keenum and company. Royce Freeman, is he a Week 17 glory play?
Oh, he's not just a glory play. He's a
good play.
He's a strong play. Devontae Booker will get in there and get his absurd workload that he should not be getting.
Should he be considered?
Booker?
Yeah.
Sure. As an absolute panic running back 3, I think you can flex him.
As a looker?
Yo,
is he a looker this week? Cortland Sutton, Deshaun Hamilton, Tim Patrick, who do you start? Who would you start? I would start Cortland Sutton.
I would start Sutton and Hamilton if it's a PPR.
You're playing Keenan Allen. You're playing Melvin Gordon. You're playing Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
What about Mike Williams? He's
probably not.
On the season, he is big playboy.
Yeah.
39 for 599 and 9. He's a I had him in a preseason. My bold predictions: 10 touchdowns. He needs to drop a touchdown in this game, or he's only got 9.
Wait, I thought he already hit 10.
Did he? Is this horrible analysis? In this?
No. He's. I'm checking Pro Football References. They got him at 9.
Man, I went real quick.
I really thought he had 10.
I went so quick to burn down our researchers here. I mean, within 1 second, I was ready to throw him under the bus.
My bad.
Who's going to be the Denver quarterback next season?
Wow.
You remember how much Jason liked Case Keenum?
Yeah.
Do you remember how much I didn't like Case Keenum?
Yeah, he's definitely a game.
0 top 6 games.
He is a game manager.
Well, hey, Andy, did you clarify if it was receiving touchdowns?
No, I said total touchdowns.
He's got
Then
10
he's got 10.
total
That's
touchdowns.
That's why he had 10
there
in my
it is,
head.
that rushing touchdown.
Boom shakalaka.
Nice. Great call. So Case Keenum next year would be $21 million against the cap.
He could be a Weegle next year.
Or
He could be the backup in Philly. That's what I think.
he could be the backup to the Weegles.
Yeah.
But he would be a $10 million dead cap hit if they decide to cut him, which they certainly may. It's going to be what I expect, a house clearing at the management position.
You ready for Nick Foles in Denver?
If that 100% could happen. And you know what? If Nick Foles goes to the Denver Broncos, then I'm going to be super happy I picked him up in our Dynasty League.
Oh, you got him?
Yeah, I got him a week ago.
I should have kept him. I had him last year. He won me a title last year in Dynasty. Here's the thing. If I had a choice, and this has nothing to do with fantasy football, but if I have a team and I have a choice between the high ceiling, low floor Nick Foles as my quarterback on a football, because that's how I look at him, right?
Yo, his
he can be a
variance is-
disaster
yes.
or he can throw for 450 yards. I'll take that every day of the week over Case Keenum, Sam Bradford, middle of the road. You can't win a shootout with this guy type of player. In this NFL, I don't want to know that I've got a quarterback who, when he's 2 scores down, the game's over.
Yeah.
I don't want to know that.
We're down by 10.
I'd rather have the Derek Anderson-esque type of, chuck it and pray player. Personally, that's just
Sure.
Neither here nor there. The 4-11 49ers take on the 12-3 Rams. The Rams are 10-point favorites, 48.5 point over-under. Look, you can play C.J. Anderson. We don't think Todd Gurley's going to be out there. Anderson is the play if Gurley is out. Cooks, Woods, put him in your lineup. Jared Goff, yep. Gerald Everett, I think you can stream him at the tight end position this week. He's my start of the week. He is my Chris Herndon of the week this week. So,
all right.
You're kind of on board with Mount Everett.
Oh, of course. I mean, he's an absolute beast of a man. I mean, he is a mountain of a man.
What about Josh Reynolds? Can you flex him?
It's
been hard to predict because he's gotten some of these games where his targets are
what
through the
happened
roof.
though. What happened 2 weeks ago? I mean, the Rams were playing wide receiver 3 wide on 90+% of their snaps. Last week was a massive transition, and I don't know if that's a Todd Gurley transition for this team, but that's why Gerald Everett became such an interesting play last week. Or not that you projected it, but his snaps went from 44% in the game against Philadelphia up to 75%. Even Higbee, the other tight end for the Rams, saw a huge increase in snaps, while Josh Reynolds saw his absolutely plummet. It's hard to project if that's the way forward for the Rams or if that's just a Todd Gurley thing. Either way, if it's one of those things, then you would expect it to continue at least for this game.
Jeff Wilson, running back for the 49ers. Matt Breida is out. Would you rather play Jeff Wilson Jr. against the Rams or Royce Freeman in his matchup?
Ooh.
Jeff Wilson offers you the majority of all the snaps
Yes.
and the pass catching. That's where I lean.
Yeah, I have Jeff Wilson a couple spots ahead of Royce Freeman this week.
Is Marquise Goodwin sneaky because Dante Pettis is out in this game?
No, but you know who is? Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah, he's a good player.
He's a good player, and he is the replacement for Dante Pettis, who was starting to really flash for this team. And you saw his snaps skyrocket up to 94% this past week, and he had a good game. He had 73 yards, 4 for 73.
I feel like it's important for him to have a good game so we can get some Matt Damon-related jokes in Studs and Duds.
Matt Damon.
His identity, I think it would come up. The 3-12 Cardinals take on the 9-6 Seahawks.
That's what made you top 5.
You're right.
Those kinds of sneaky puns.
You're darn right. Because puns are the key to analysis. They can be.
They are
can
on
be.
this show.
The Seahawks are 13.5 point favorites. It's a 38.5 point over under, a.k.a. the Cardinals aren't scoring a lot of points in this one, and no, they're not. The Cardinals can secure the number 1 pick in the NFL draft with the loss, so based on their long track record of making fans sad, they might win the game.
Are you referring to the Josh McCown game, knocking the Minnesota.
Believe it or not, Josh McCown, Brooks, you probably don't know this.
Yes.
But Josh McCown has never not been in the NFL. He's played for over 40 years. And back in the 90s?
Yes.
Josh McCown, who was the Cardinals starting quarterback. Now, you don't know this story, do you? They were playing the Minnesota Vikings. They were one of the worst teams
Cardinals
in the
were
league.
awful.
The
Shocker.
Cardinals were going to be the number 1 pick in the draft. The Vikings needed to simply beat them to make the playoffs with Dante Culpepper, I think. And
I think that's right.
And the Cardinals, on a last-second 40-yard throw into the corner of the end zone, won the game.
Literal walk-off Hail Mary
They went
touchdown.
running off the field celebrating. And every Cardinal fan knew that they had destroyed their chance at the number 1 pick and knocked the Minnesota Vikings out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Although I do think, didn't we
That
draft?
was the Larry
Yeah, we
year.
drafted Larry Fitzgerald, so that was fine.
But and this is a side discussion. My dad and I were just talking about that play because we could have had Phillip Rivers, which we, in the draft, still could have had him. We took Larry over Phillip Rivers at the number 3.
We did?
Yeah.
I thought Phillip went number 2.
No, Phillip went 4. And
Really?
Then they swapped. The Giants and the Chargers traded picks.
Yes, because Eli did not want to play in San Diego.
Correct.
The
history of the NFL is so fun.
That was, Eli, Robert Gallery, Larry Fitzgerald, Phillip Rivers, Sean Taylor. Interesting. Big Ben went 11 in that draft.
Whoops.
Whoops. That could be the motto of our home team.
Arizona. Whoops.
Whoops. You had the first pick. Then you beat the Vikings. Whoops.
You know how they all have the stairs going down to the field and it has the sign like keep hammering, crush the opponent.
Gosh,
Ours
yes.
is everyone jumps up and slaps it on the way. And
It's a whoops.
Ours is just oops.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. The Seahawks are a playoff lock, but they're fighting for a better playoff matchup. You talked about the fact if they win, their matchup's much better.
Their matchup would be the Cowboys instead of the Bears or the Rams.
So Pete Carroll, at least he's come out and said he's not going to rest anybody. I'm thankful they need to win for the Cardinals' sake for that draft pick. But we talked about it. You can play Doug Baldwin. Chris Carson's Mike's number 1 running back on the week.
Yeah.
And Russell Wilson's playing great. So, that's the lay of the land. David Johnson, if you got to start him, you start him.
Yes.
He's been okay. Larry Fitzgerald, Mike, I think Jason pumped the brakes on him this week. I think he's going to be okay. But at the end of the day, the Cardinals don't score a lot of points. They don't move the football, and you can't trust them.
Agreed.
Sunday Night Football, the 9-6 Colts take on the 9-6 Titans. 43.5-point over-under. A win for the Colts gets them a playoff spot and possibly the AFC South title if the Texans lose against Jacksonville. But if they lose, they could miss the playoffs entirely. So the Titans, they need to win and make the playoffs, or they can miss the playoffs entirely. A lot on the line. Was this flexed into Sunday night? Because it's a big boy game.
What's interesting is you said, okay, Sunday Night Football, Colts, Titans, and in my head I instantly went, ugh.
I did too.
Oh, seriously?
But now I'm excited.
Yeah. Now I'm for it. This is fun. Elimination game.
Yeah. So what do we expect fantasy-wise? Derrick Henry's out there. Marcus Mariota, can you play Mariota or Corey Davis?
Is Mariota going to play?
Yeah, that's the question. And I don't know if he will.
Yeah, even if he does, I'm not going to play him. The Colts defense is legit.
So does that really make Derrick Henry the only start for the Tennessee Titans?
For me, yes.
And then on the other side, Marlon Mack, T.Y. Hilton, Andrew Luck, you're fine with them. What about Eric Ebron coming off the concussion? You just got to watch that?
Yeah, if Eric Ebron plays, you play him, even in this tough matchup against Tennessee.
By the way, and for the Texans, an update to the injury report there. Bill O'Brien came out and talked about Lamar Miller. It says he's good to go against Jacksonville. They need to win. Odell Beckham Jr. still sidelined on Friday, which fits with Mike saying he thinks he's going to be out. And then Leonard Fournette, who I thought was going to be out, he didn't practice again on Friday. Yeah. You got no reason to set him back again. He normally needs a good 6 to 8 months to recover from every injury. You don't need to set him back heading into the offseason if you want to build your team around him.
Brooks, I think the biggest update I need is the status of Gigantor Mo Alley Cox. If Eric Ebron is out,
stop!
Give me the Giants. Give me the update on Mo Alley Cox.
Well, while you're looking that up, Mike and I have to go head to head in the final Daily Dose of the year.
Let's go.
The Daily Dose, brought to you by Draft.
All right, we're going head-to-head. Everybody's available. Is this right, Mike?
That is correct.
Our final daily dose of the year.
It's going to be bananas.
Strategy-wise in a head-to-head, I'm happy with, a lot more than 2 running backs this week and a lot more than 2 wide receivers. So I can tell you right now, the draft doesn't start for another 25 seconds. Draft.com/ballers, by the way, if you want to play some Week 17 DFS.
They got playoff best ball, too.
Yes, they do.
So check them
yes,
out.
They do. But I can tell you right now, I'm going to be drafting Patrick Mahomes. He will be my quarterback, and that will be my first pick, Mike. So, in a way,
you've tipped your hand, and I will figure out what I am doing.
I was going to say you won't need to worry about quarterback. That's kind of the disadvantage of doing that. But I want the best quarterback on the board in this head-to-head. So I'll let you make the tough decisions at other positions. You get back-to-back picks. Right now, I took Pat Mahomes with the first pick, and it looks like you are making your 2 selections. You went with Saquon.
I'm taking the 2 running backs. And you would say, what, didn't you just say Chris Carson's your number 1? Yes, and I drafted him. Saquon was just ahead of the queue, so I drafted him first. So I went back-to-back RBs, Barkley, Chris Carson.
Yeah, and so based on – look, it's an interesting week because making decisions on players is tough. I'm not going to draft any running backs. You took both of yours, obviously. So I'm going to take Tyreek Hill, stack him with Pat Mahomes, try to give me that quick win that way. And then I'm going to actually go – Hopkins scares me against Jacksonville a little bit. And Jalen Ramsey, Antonio Brown with the injury. Man, this is actually a tough call on this second starter at the wide receiver position.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Juju. I'm going to take Juju Smith-Schuster against Cincinnati.
That's upsetting because I was going to take him.
Were you?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm very happy that you're upset.
So then I will take his counterpoint. I will take Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to play some strategy here. I'm going to try and get some of your points. So I'm going to take Zeus, Travis Kelce, see if I can siphon a little bit away from your Patrick Mahomes advantage.
One of the most annoying things that can happen. Now, looking at running backs, I look at Christian McCaffrey. I want to take Christian McCaffrey, and I'm not taking Christian McCaffrey.
No.
But then I have the same concerns about Alvin Kamara in that situation. I'm going to go with Ezekiel Elliott and trust. Oh, that's a bad decision. I actually really regret that decision.
Yes.
Because he's in the same boat. Shoot.
Maybe.
I'm going to go Nick Chubb. I'm going to go Nick Chubb with the second pick. And I'm going to hope that Dallas wasn't lying because I've already made the pick. So
yeah, Nick Chubb is a
if I could go back in time, I might change that.
So I'm going to stack Antonio Brown with Big Ben Roethlisberger.
So you got Big Ben, Antonio Brown, Travis Kelce, Saquon, and Carson. I like your team a lot. Mahomes, Elliott, Chubb, Hill, Schuster. I'll be honest. I think you're going to beat me. Mike.
Yeah, that's right.
But we'll see. We'll finish up the year. Brooks just shared a tweet with me. It is a picture of Mo Alley Cox's hand size. It is very large.
It's giant,
well,
as you would expect from Gigantor.
Mo Alley Cox he's enormous. He's over 40 feet tall.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a fact.
Look, he once got in a fight with the Jolly Green Giant.
He won.
And he won.
Yeah.
So the update, though, Brooks, this is great. He's not on the injury report.
That's
correct. You're not playing Mo Alley Cox if Eric Ebron's out.
No, but I want to.
Yeah, okay.
I should have just taken him. I should have taken him in this
draft.
draft.
Oh, my gosh. It should have been it should have been a troll draft. Is
the
what it should have been.
glory of the Gigantor.
All right. We'll be back next Monday. Footy nominations.
Good luck. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.